Welcome to our monthly off topic. Tonight, we're going to talk about being overwhelmed when everything is too much. And we have a special guest with us today,
Oh,
Fred the Head. So, why I have Fred the Head here
hey, Emily.
is to explain the science behind this. Okay?
Wait, scoot back a bit so they can fully see Fred the head.
Other way. Okay. All right. So, this is the prefrontal cortex. This is what is growing, like has to mature so that you get all your executive functioning skills. For most people, it's 25. For ADHD, neurodivergence, it's 30. I don't know. I'm 57 and it still hasn't grown. Um, so this is where all your
That's so scary.
executive functioning skills are, right? These are the ones that help you plan, organize, regulate your emotions.
Is that his voice, or you just?
Oh, should I do a funny voice?
No, you were just doing one already.
Oh, sorry. So this is what is lagging in people that have neurodivergency. Now, in here is the limbic system, and that is like your alarm person. It when this gets alarmed, what happens is it goes to the back of your head, which is the amygdala. I think it's amygdala. And that's your fight for flight, freeze kind of thing. So when it becomes, it's inside. It's actually inside the brain, but you can't see it. So what happens is you're going along fine, and stressors come in. It sounds the alarm. Your body thinks that it is not safe. There is a reason. There's something threatening, and this goes offline. So your thinking brain shuts down. So that is kind of what happens to a neurodivergent mind when it's overwhelmed. Um, ADHD is a lack of, lack of dopamine and norepinephrine, whatever it's called. And also, the lagging skills, but it also is a dysregulated nervous system. So they all work together. So you're starting with a dysregulated nervous system, and then some stressor comes in. Um, the little guy sounds the alarm. The back of the head goes, we are not safe. We need to do something. Then that's fight, flight, freeze. And once that happens, thinking stops. So
I think that's why some people with autism will elope, is because they get really overwhelmed
and
and they get
that's their
into
flight.
the flight
Yeah,
response.
because they don't have like an adequate, even if they have an adequate, it just might be like the safest thing
Yeah.
for them in their head.
Well,
So,
because it's like if you're overwhelmed, you want to get out of the place that's making you overwhelmed as quick as possible.
okay, so if
Do you want me to do it?
I got to
And
you just hold that
yeah.
and kind of go like this.
Okay, tell
Okay.
me where you
So,
turn.
just sit right there, Fred.
He's got kind of a busted nose.
I think he fell a few times. So I will explain something that Dr. Russell Barkley, you may know. Um, this right here is your performance side of your brain. So that is like,
No, this is the logical side.
no, I'm just saying the front of your head,
Oh,
the front of
sorry.
your head. So look at this as um, knowing what to do and doing what you know. Those two parts of the brain. Okay. And what happens is ADHD kind of goes, so there's a wall between, hey, I know what to do, but there's a wall I have to get over so I can actually do it.
Yeah.
So I think that was a good explanation of there's like a disconnect. So even though you're saying to your kid, I know you know how to brush your teeth, I know you know how to put your shoes on, and they seem to not be able to, it's that disconnect.
And
It's they know what to do, they just can't do it.
and that's why it was so frustrating when you used to be like, "Well, where's the disconnect?" I don't know. Like you used to
You
ask,
should know. Ask Fred.
you asked me all the time because like I would be like you specifically with laundry and not putting it in the basket. You're like, I know you know that that's what you're supposed to do. So where is it? And I'm like, I know. And you would be like, okay, then why aren't you doing it? Where's the disconnect? Like, what's happening? And I'm like, I don't know. Hi, Zane. Oh wait, I'm waving at the wrong one. Hi,
Yeah.
Zane.
So, yes. So now it's more like we know there's a disconnect.
Mm-hmm.
How do we overcome it? How do we set it up so that um, a bulk of the time you are able to know what to do and can actually do it?
Yeah,
That's a tough one.
it's hard.
So really what it is when you're in a heightened state or you're dysregulated or whatever, then, your thinking brain goes off and you can't access the knowledge that you have, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
I feel like my thinking brain is off a lot of the time.
I don't think it's ever on.
I think the other issue though is I have two different things that cause disconnect in like fight or flight response in my brain because I have the PTSD aspect where when I'm having a flashback it's that same fight or flight response, but then it's also I have ADHD where that response will kick in, so I feel like I'm always kind of in this like fight or flight
Well, and then you
response.
have the autism, which always fights with an ADHD.
Literally my own brain this exact thing to happen more than anything around me in the outside world. Like I will get
Right, because your ADHD brain is gonna like, hey, let's do this, and your autism brain is
yeah,
like, I don't like the
I,
fact that you're doing
I
this.
stress myself out more than literally anything in my environment. Like I think
Okay, well, you're ruining everything because I said one of the easiest things to do is change your environment,
yeah,
which some of it does happen,
well can we
unless you
change
have.
my brain and then it won't
Would you
be a
like
problem
Fred's?
anymore. Yeah.
There you go. You now have a new brain.
Awesome.
Um, so here is one of the problems. You wake up not recharged. So even when you sleep and you're like, oh, I had a good night's sleep, whatever, you wake up exhausted because your brain is still going 1,000 miles a minute, and it doesn't get the same kind of downtime as neurotypical people.
Yeah.
That's why I think that Dad has some autism because he's like, just don't think about it. Just close your eye. I don't know
No,
how he does that.
actually, he's like, because anytime I'd be like, I can't sleep, he's like, well, just close your eyes and stop thinking. And I'm like,
Okay,
what?
let me try that. If I never thought of that,
I'm like I haven't done that before. I
I
appreciate
haven't
it.
tried.
I'm so convinced he has autism. He doesn't think he does. Um,
Guys don't have anything.
and I'm like, okay, but it's genetic. So where did I get it from? Because mom doesn't have it, and I know that for a fact.
You do?
Yes, because some of the stuff that I do that's very autistic annoys the living crap out of you, and I know that if you were autistic, you'd be like, oh, that makes sense. I do that too.
The thing is like I know that it makes sense,
Yeah.
but it's still annoying because that's not how I respond to it. So, and there's nothing that my ADHD brain can do for it. So I'm just kind of like,
You
okay,
said that to your son last night. That's crazy. Yeah. It's like I don't know how people can just turn off their brain cuz I feel like even when I'm asleep, I'm dreaming all the time. Like I know I have dreams. I can't remember them half the time. I remember bits and pieces, but I know I'm dreaming. Yeah.
yeah, I have tried. That's why I think we have to have the noise,
Yeah.
right?
I
Like
need to
Dad's like,
sleep
I
with
can't,
TV
I
on and
can't
stuff.
listen to have people,
I can't
talking in the
sleep.
background, but I need something more than just like,
I know I can't have white noise
yeah,
because then I'm like I just it's first of all white noise is really overstimulating. Like people are
it's
like
like being
listening
stabbed 1,000 times.
it's like listen to the sounds of the waves and it's like the loudest. I'm like
Or we were listening to rain because like rain is so soothing when it's happening, but we were listening to rain and I kept waking up thinking we were in the middle of a thunderstorm every night. So I'm like, no, no, no. So he wants to put jazz on, and
I
I was
maybe I
doing
could sleep to jazz, but
no, I was.
like
You know what was good for me is I was putting on, um, instrumental songs that I know, and
yeah.
I would try to figure out what the song was and sing it in my head, and that worked great because it kept
Yeah.
my brain active enough for me to calm down and
See, yeah,
sleep.
my problem is that if I don't have something to think about while falling asleep, I will spiral into
Hmm.
anxiety.
Hmm.
So I need to have
Yeah,
something. So like that's why audiobooks were really good for me because I would close my eyes and I could like imagine I don't have an imagination. I can't see visual pictures in my head, but
that's a
like it
horse.
was like reading a book basically. Like I could focus really hard on the words being said
Hmm.
and then I would fall asleep because I'm like, "Oh, I'm paying attention to what this person's saying to me." Um, problem with audiobooks is they're all narrated by like deep-voiced men or like old women, and I would wake up scared that there was a man in my room because there was this guy talking and I'm like, and I would forget that I had an audiobook on. So I can't do that anymore. So I'll put on like podcasts that I've listened to in the past, like just replay old episodes, or I'll put on YouTube videos.
It can't be so.
No, okay, so I put on videos
We're
that
getting off
I've
topic.
seen many, many times. But sometimes mom will be in my room and she hasn't seen the videos and then she gets really invested and won't go to sleep.
We were up to like 1. I was trying to help calm their nervous system. And
How often do you live? Every
so we do once a month,
once
the
a
first
month, every
Tuesday, and then I've
Tuesday.
been trying to get on Tuesday mornings to do a little shorter clip. I couldn't last week because this one had to have testing done. So so I can do more because we were doing it every week, and then Coda started college and it was just too
Yeah.
stressful. So we do the long version,
Yeah.
the two of us, on Tuesday, the first Tuesday of every month.
They're
And then
also uploaded to YouTube.
and yes, I'm trying to be better at, as soon as this is done, I upload it, and I'm trying to upload past ones too.
Mm-hmm.
But that is another overwhelming activity that just has me not doing it. Um, so as far as
This way we also don't run out of topics and we can kind of revisit older topics that people might have missed.
yeah, and new stuff comes out all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how you handle it is pretty much the same. That has, unless they come with some major breakthrough, like they're kind of like identifying some genes and stuff. But unless they
Yeah.
can come up with something major, the best way is going to be teaching parents how to help your child, behavior therapy, medication.
The biggest thing for me is just like communicating as much as possible with your child, because like they know what's going on in their heads most of the time. So, and like sometimes they won't have the words, like if they're younger they won't have the words to explain what they're doing or what they felt or what all that was happening, but they can usually give a pretty decent understanding of like feelings based on the feelings they have
Mhm.
access to. Um, and like introducing your kids to new feelings, like introducing them to the word overwhelmed. So like when they're
Yes,
feeling
I
that,
was going
they
to say that.
know how they're feeling and they can better tell you when that's happening so you can know, okay, now it's time for me to step in and like get them out of this environment, like figure out what they need, cuz every kid's different, but most of the time you'll figure out eventually like when your kid is like getting to that point before they say it. Like eventually you'll be able to like, cuz once they start telling you, you can
I can't take you
recognize
seriously with this over.
you can recognize patterns and stuff.
Oh, definitely. So, the reason that we are able to do this is because I I did a lot of things that I didn't know was actually helping. Um, it was just more survival. But
Yeah.
I never baby talk to my kids. I always explained in words. So, like, emotional intelligence is the biggest thing your kid needs,
Yep.
because if they don't have that, they can't regulate their system to do anything else.
One of the
So,
things I'm so grateful for you about is that you have taught me from like the very beginning how to talk to people, how to effectively stand up for myself if I need to, like how to notice like what I'm feeling, what that word is, like how to identify and like how to get that across to people. And like I feel like I don't think I would have been able to handle college if I didn't have the skills to be like, okay, this is what I need, and I need to tell somebody that this is what I need.
yeah, and so like with the youngest, we're still working through that because they have a much harder time articulating. I think they have almost the same diagnosis as you, and they're two completely different kids because
Yeah.
80, there's no one size fits all.
I think
Um,
the other thing is I was always a very emotional person to begin with, so I had a lot of moments for identifying those feelings at a really young age because I would feel big feelings all
mhm.
the time. And I feel like Luna as a kid was not as emotional. Like I think she was definitely emotional, but like
They were active and happy, and if they got angry or sad or whatever, it was
it was
like
like very
bing. Yes,
obvious that it was
it
that.
happened, and then it was done.
Because
Like they would bounce back,
a
where
lot of
this
the
one would be 7 hours later still.
yeah, it because the thing is like a lot of times my brain doesn't really know how to like correctly expel the emotion that I'm feeling. So like when I was angry, I like the place where I struggled a lot was when I was feeling multiple emotions at the same time. Like, because it wasn't as easy as just being like angry or happy or sad or anything. My son's very emotional. He's only 8. I am still very
Okay, so
emotional.
he's only 8, but he is really 6
Yeah, he's very sensitive, which
emotionally.
is like I was a very sensitive kid. I still am. Um, and it's hard, especially because where I struggled the most was naming emotions that weren't just one. Like, there's times where you're angry and you're sad at the same time, which to someone who's neurodivergent, sometimes it can feel like a completely different and new emotion, and that's really more overwhelming than the actual emotion that you're feeling.
hmm And I'll tell you, I say 8 to 15 is um the range where I usually get parents coming to me, because when you're 8, you're starting to have 8-year-old expectations, but you are not at an 8-year-old level for those
Yeah,
expectations. So it's you're already set up to fail if you don't have some kind of accommodations and things.
yeah.
And
Because that's when school starts like
starts
picking up.
ramping up, um
And they're like expecting you to be able to do stuff effectively and stuff, which is crazy that they're expecting that from you when you're 8 years
8
old,
like
but like whatever.
so that's like third grade, I guess, because I think
I don't even
10,
remember.
maybe second or third. But I'm telling you, and it's
Zane
not the
is very
same.
emotional as well. His brother is the opposite. That's how me and my sibling are.
But yeah, so you just made me lose my train of thought. What
My
were I
bad.
talking about?
You were talking about the age range that you
Oh,
usually
okay,
get.
yep. Because school is no longer kindergarten is not kindergarten anymore. It's more like first grade, and
I don't
like
know
everything is
how I'm like,
pushed down. So there's also that.
what
So
happened to playing with blocks and having fun? He's in third grade, yeah.
okay, so he's in third grade.
I
It's a
actually,
tough grade, and now they're
yeah.
gonna. So depending on how your school is set up, um, fifth grade completely fell apart. That's when I pulled them,
No,
because
sixth grade. It was sixth grade. I started sixth grade. I did one,
was it sixth grade?
yeah, one portion because I had that really mean math teacher who I was scared of, and
But
I
fifth
only
grade
went
was a
to the,
tough grade
yeah.
coming up to it, and I was like, you know what?
You were
Um,
like getting ready. You were like,
I wanted to
I
pull
want.
you in fourth grade, and you wouldn't.
You asked me again in fifth grade, and I said no because I wanted to experience middle school with my friends. And then
I experienced it, and I didn't want it
I did
anymore.
like a month, not even, and I was like, no, I can't do this
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah, you made it like 3 months.
Yeah.
Um,
But I also had a really I don't want to say awful, but like it was awful staff of people in that school.
Yeah, it also depends on your district and how well. We were in a small town, very limited things. And if you notice, Coda is doodling.
I
So I just want you, parents, any parents, um, that this is creating a distraction in their brain so that they can listen.
Yeah, it gives me the dopamine I need to be able to focus on what's being said. I can't like if I start feeling like I'm getting kind of zony and I can't start to focus as much, it's not because I'm uninterested. It's just because we just
You got his
yay!
diagnosis. Okay,
That's so
great, great.
awesome.
Not that we're like, but having a diagnosis is great, because now you have, people like, I don't want to label my kid. I'm telling you, your kid's already been labeled, and
Yes.
it's probably not a good one.
No, right?
So, getting that diagnosis, um,
It
if you can shoot me
it
like a
honestly
DM,
helps
I have a,
it helps your kid understand themselves better and it helps your kid stand up for themselves when people are like accusing them of doing behavior because they can be like, well, this behavior is because I have this. And so you're being
so
mean.
I have a video that I can send you to show to your son, if so that he can understand himself better. Um, Emily can attest. I'm pretty sure I sent it to her. I also have a little ebook I can send you on what to do after your diagnosis, because the reason that I started coaching was because of the struggles I had when my kids were younger, that there's a huge gap. You get a diagnosis and they're like, okay, so
That's great. They're not going
let's
to talk to you.
let's talk about medication and therapy and accommodations in school and whatever. And then you go home and your kid flips out, whatever, hits you, threatens to stab you.
I don't have any memory of that, so
Well, you were 5. Um, throws a fit, whatever. And you're like, what do I do? Because the things I'm doing right now are making it worse. And so this is what the overwhelm is that when your kid has gotten to that point, the threat is so large that no logic is going to work. No calm down, no any of that. So the first and foremost thing is to get the threat lowered. What does Emily say?
Since Merrick got his, seems like him and Zane are closer, if this makes sense. Yeah,
Yep.
like when me and my sibling have bonded a lot in more recent years over interest, because for a while there was like a really big divide over interests and like understanding of each other, because they would get frustrated with me because of my behaviors and I would get frustrated because of theirs. And now there's kind of more of an understanding. It also gets easier as your kids get older, I feel, because they can kind of understand when to, they have more skills to be able to like be like, okay, you're bothering me, I'm leaving. And like,
Right. And as a parent, remembering that they're struggling. They don't have the experience or the knowledge that you have. So it may be like you're overreacting over this little thing. You need to calm down, but
sometimes
to
those
them
little
it's
things feel really big depending on what they are,
right.
though.
So the first thing is to lower the threat of when your kid gets overwhelmed, you want to lower the threat. That can be, like we drink water through a straw. That can totally help. That's a very tip that I tell all parents. Helps to regulate your breathing.
I tell my friends that when they're freaking out.
Good. Taking a sensory break, whatever. You've got to get them
He's
back.
also got leading disability on top of it. I don't know what that
Oh,
is.
so I have tons of information about that because you've got dysgraphia and dyscalculia.
Yes.
Luna has everything: dyslexia, dyscalculia, the dysgraphia. Um,
I think I
so
have dyscalculia and dysgraphia. I think that's it, right?
yeah, you
Yeah.
don't have dyslexia,
No, because
dyslexia.
I can read.
So that just adds. That adds to the stress. That adds to the being overwhelmed because you already have these expectations you can't reach, and now you have learning disabilities, which makes it even harder to reach those.
Yeah.
Um, so
Especially if they also have like other mental health problems like anxiety or depression, which usually happens as kids get older, but it can happen in young children. That can be a thing.
yeah, they kind of like to be friends
Yeah.
and hang out together,
Which is
but
really annoying, and I think they need to stop being friends. But that's my personal
break
opinion.
that. So we stop the threat. Um, their thinking brain is now online. And let's see. So say it's let's use you as an example.
Oh, lovely. I'd
Cleaning
love
the room,
to.
right? So
Cleaning the room, I experience a lot of decision paralysis and like task paralysis and stuff like that, where my room gets bad when my mental health gets bad. That's usually the reason it's bad. It's not because I'm like just lazy. It's because I'm either stressed out about school, I'm stressed out about my health, I'm stressed out about something. So my top priority is not, oh, I took my clothes off, time to put them in the laundry basket. My thing is, I took my clothes off, I'm putting my PJs on, and I'm laying down because I'm really stressed and overwhelmed and I need to calm down. But then the room becomes a sense of stress. And then that's why I feel like a lot of people with ADHD have messy rooms, is because it's like there's either that wall where they can't finish the task, or there's something more exciting that they're getting ready to do and then they leave stuff everywhere,
yep.
or they're stressed. And sometimes I can break down the tasks on my own and I can clean up my room on my own and get that all done. But when I'm still in a sense of stress and the room is making it worse, I need help breaking down the tasks, and being given directions by someone else sometimes makes that easier for me. But
Oh
I
yeah.
know
And
that's not true for every kid,
it
because some
isn't.
people are very avoidant when people give them directions. But
Yes, because there is a demand avoidance. ADHD people.
since they've been on NTI, I've given Zane like 10-minute breaks per subject. Exactly. And
Yeah.
I wish more schools gave everybody more breaks in between things, because I think all kids need a little reset before they're just constantly taking in information that's more than like 30 minutes for lunch, or the little passing periods they have in the hallway.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's they're still children, and like there's this weird thing where they're like, we're gonna take away recess, but these
You are
kids,
still bitter about that.
I'm so pissed. But these kids, but it's true because these kids have so much energy, regardless if you're neurodivergent or not. And so taking away something that gets that energy out and lets them, like, I remember I used to look forward to recess because I could get all my energy out and then I would focus better after recess because I have moved around. I had a break. I was able to do stuff and regulate my body and do what I needed to do instead of just sitting for like 8 hours consistently. Just like I think it's really not great for kids, but like
I
that's,
don't think it's good for anybody, but
yeah.
especially if you're a neurodivergent. But so this weekend, um, the week before was very stressful. A lot of health issues, going for testing, that kind of thing. So Saturday, it was Saturday night, right? Yes, Saturday night.
I don't know.
I almost called you Luna. Coda
Yeah.
came to me and said, "I really need some help tomorrow with my room because it's stressing me out, and I can't deal with it." So
And I knew that it was going to stress me out more trying to get back into school while feeling crappy if I had a messy room.
So, yes, they said, I think if my room is clean, I can reset and hopefully start the week and be able to get back to school and everything. So that lowered the threat.
Hmm.
Okay. We had a plan. I tell parents all the time, we have a plan. When your kid starts getting over anxious, I remind Coda, we have a plan. We're gonna move forward with the plan. Um,
It's so helpful, especially if your kid is also autistic. Having a plan is so important and helpful because I always feel more stressed when I don't have some sort of plan or some sort of like backup plan that if something unexpected happens, I know how to handle it because the unexpected causes the most overwhelm because
mhm.
I'm not prepared. But if I'm more prepared for it, it helps. So whenever I'm really overwhelmed and stressed, having somebody, like, eventually I would love to be able to create that plan myself. And sometimes I can. But sometimes having somebody create a plan for you is super helpful.
It's so helpful. I
Like,
wish somebody would create a
genuinely.
plan for me. I did great.
When it's warm this past summer, I had them at the park almost every day after school before homework time. That is
Yeah,
awesome.
you call it get it the wiggles out. We used to have a 4 o'clock dance party. Everybody knew about it. And the kids would just run around, dance to music, and we would just scream and jump on furniture and stuff and
Yeah.
whatever. But back to the thing. So we had a plan. Now their mind can rest. Even though the plan was going to be for tomorrow, at least that.
I'm always stressed about stuff before it even happens.
So
So,
we're getting that in the brain. We have a plan, we have a plan, we have a plan. Sunday morning comes around and check in. You're still with the plan.
yeah.
Uh, just getting the
My son
batteries going.
don't like change me either.
That that sounds kind of like, well, no, I don't want to say that. So it's interesting. He may have a
I think it can be true for ADHD people, but
because it's an executive functioning skills flexibility. So I always called my youngest a rigid thinker, but it was that they were not as flexible as this one. Um,
oh my gosh, no. And they still are that
they
way
still
to this day. Like when we would be playing games or something, like I was a very like I would play dolls with them a lot. And I had this whole story in my head
Oh my
and
god.
like but the thing is it usually doesn't match how my sibling would play. So they would be like, but I don't want to do that. And if I'm like, well, this is how it is, because I was a bossy little crap. And I'd be like, well, this is how we're going to do this. Or like, I want to do this now. So I'm going to do this now. They would be like,
Mm,
I can't play with you anymore. This sucks.
yeah.
Or when they would have play dates, they would be doing this activity. They're like, all the kids are like, let's go on the swings. And they'd be like, okay, we're going on the swings. This is great. I love swinging. And they would be swinging, and kids get bored in like 5 seconds. So they would be like, all right, I'm done swinging. I'm going to go do this. But my sibling would be like, well, I still want to swing. Like,
Yeah.
that's what we're
They
doing.
couldn't do those
Yeah,
transitions fast. But even like today, I had to remind them like we are leaving in 15 minutes. I'm giving you this buffer so that I'm not rushing you. You can move along. But
that's how he is because he's oldest. Yeah.
yes. So
I've gotten
cleaning the room.
worse with change. Like, I'm very it's weird. I'm a little more flexible with change, but it's still when it's like a personal change in like routine, in like something I have set for myself, if there's something that interrupts that, I get very upset. Like it's less if people are like, well, our plans changed. Like maybe I'll be a little stressed out a bit. Or if the plans aren't solidified before a certain time, I'm like, okay, guys, we gotta get our shit together because I can't do this. Like, we cannot be making plans. Like, when it's a big plans, like, if I'm planning my birthday party and people still haven't told me if they're coming and it's like
Yeah, that sucks.
48 hours before, I'm like, guys, I'm not having this party if none of you are coming, so you have to tell me now or I'm not doing it because this is stressing me out. But I can make plans at like 10 p.m. the night before with like a friend, but that's because it's like one-on-one usually, and I
Yeah.
feel like when it's more people it gets more stressful.
Anyways.
Sorry, I
So
talk a
we had a
lot.
plan. Sunday came around. We got functional. And
You did most of it,
well, here's
unfortunately.
here's the thing. Um, I had to break it down, right? So I said, your job is to pick up the dirty laundry. I don't know what's dirty and what's clean. So that's what your job is right now. And that's what they did. And then they had to sit there for a while. And
I had to keep sitting down because my brain would be like,
yeah,
I don't know what to do.
right. And I was like, okay, well, what's the most important? What will get you feeling like you are starting to get in control? Let's fix the desk. Okay, we're fixing the desk. We got that. Um, and we went from there. Like, what is the next thing that would make a difference if we did it right now? I think we did your bed or whatever. So that's how we had to do it, little by little. And so,
I had to keep being like, what do I do? What do I
right.
do?
But by the end, we were done, and you had the capacity to go and then shower when
I
you didn't
did,
think you
yeah.
were going to shower that day. Um, so it took a while, but it spurred on and it got that dopamine going and able to overcome the can't do for the to the want to, so they climbed over the imaginary wall that split your brain in half. So I know for a lot of parents it's exhausting and it's hard. And I lose it on you still sometimes when I get
Yeah.
frustrated. Um,
But I also lose it on you. And I feel like I'm at the age where I like am able to kind of understand that sometimes when you get frustrated, it's not necessarily always my fault.
mm.
And sometimes you get frustrated at me, and I'm like, yeah, but that makes sense.
So you want to focus on lowering the threat. Once you've lowered the threat, breaking the task down, whatever they're doing, or whatever the situation is. Um, and then the two of you working together to regulate. Sometimes relationship over task is how you need to approach most um most ADHD people need that. Like, you're not going to be a robot. You're not going to be
Robert.
robot. You're not going to be calm all the time. Um, you know, you want your child to match your energy, but that you also want it to be a positive energy.
Yeah. But
Um,
also know that it's okay if you're not positive all the time. Like your kids need to also see you
as a human,
handling frustration, handling anger, handling stuff like that, and know that when they mess up with that thing, that's when you know, like, oh, because like if you apologize to your kid, they'll be like, that helps them recognize, like, when I lash out at someone, I have to apologize. And it teaches them, like, empathy. Like, kids
mm,
will feel empathy if you show them empathy.
yeah.
Like, I believe a lot, like, because one thing I think about a lot is when you posted a video or something and all these people were like, your kids are never going to talk to you again.
Oh,
And
oh,
I'm
I
like,
I did a video about calling all parents who are walking on eggshells,
exactly. And
which
I,
parents say to me daily.
and like, the thing is that a lot of these
Coulda got
people,
very mad that
I
people
got
were
mad
attacking me about
because
it, and most of them were kids,
most
right?
of
So
them
I'm
were
like
kids.
I'm like, "Dude, I was a kid like you, and I was a parent. You don't even know what it's like to be a parent, so how can you tell?"
No, and like
Whatever.
the other thing is I feel like a lot of these kids are like being very defensive, but they don't understand like I feel like I'm at the age where I'm like, yeah, you probably were walking on eggshells around me. And I look back on my behavior sometimes and I'm like, why the hell did I do that? Or like, I understand
because you're a kid.
how frustrating it must have been to parent also in a time that had less resources than we have now, and also not knowing that your kid was neurodivergent at all. So I'm like, I feel like a lot of people don't realize like it's their first time parenting usually. Like everybody is living on this earth for the first time ever and it's confusing and no one's going to do it right. Like
And everybody has a different experience. Like,
exactly.
I look at those videos and I hate them because of how I talked to my kids and the energy I gave off. And
Mhm.
I can't do anything about that, but I have talked to my kids about it. I've apologized and I've
Yes,
moved forward.
apologizing to your kids is like
Yeah.
the best thing you can do when you mess up because it teaches them appropriate times to apologize.
But
It
don't
does.
do it too much because then you get into the sorry, sorry, sorry.
Yes,
And both my kids are trying to break that.
I feel like mine is more caused from outside people than it is from you. Like, if that makes sense. Because I was
Yeah,
constantly being
maybe.
told that I was doing stuff wrong, even if I didn't really know what it was. So I'm constantly apologizing for things that I don't know what they are because that's what I was conditioned to do. But if you apologize to your kids in times where you genuinely mean it, they will learn to apologize in times where they genuinely mean it and not just apologize as like
Because
an
you said
empty
so.
statement.
Right. And so that's one of Luna's goals this year is to not say I'm sorry as much
Yeah.
um, for feelings, for opinions, for decisions.
One of my biggest things is apologizing for how I feel, like how someone made me feel, or how, or when I set a boundary and having someone break that boundary, I'm apologizing for setting a boundary and I need to stop doing that.
Yeah.
But that's not mom's fault because my mom has always listened to my boundaries the best she possibly can and worked with me.
Yeah, you just told
And
me one last night. I can't remember it.
I also don't remember. So,
um, you said don't tell me.
oh, I said I don't like it when I'm talking about something I'm anxious about and you tell me to stop because
Right.
I will be rambling because I need to. And sometimes mom will be like, stop because she doesn't want me to spiral. And I get that. But sometimes I need to get it out or else I'm going to spiral more.
Yes, and I know not to say stop or calm down, and I still do it
Hmm.
because part of it is I know it's not going to work, and I think it's more for me to try to get regulated because I there has to be one regulated person in this
Yeah.
room. Um,
But I
so
also think what you also have to realize is that now we're at an older age, so you have more leeway to be less regulated because we'll understand it more. You know what I mean? Like I feel like
so now that I'm old, I can be
well, I'm no
dysregulated.
no no because we're
Oh,
older, we understand the emotions that you're feeling.
oh,
We're
okay,
less like because
okay.
I'm
I
less
thought you were giving me
likely.
permission to just go nuts.
No,
Okay.
when you're mad, I give I've been better at like giving you space or apologizing when I don't give you space because I understand that you're mad and sometimes it's not directed at me. I feel like I'm at that age where cuz like when I was younger, I was always
Oh,
convinced
always.
that you were mad at me and when you were, I would not give you any space and I didn't
You would
like
not leave me alone. I could not get 5 seconds to not be mad. Um, and I, you know, didn't handle it well. So that's part of the reason
yeah.
why we're here and why I'm trying to help other parents because,
Yeah, but I feel like I genuinely, when I apologize a lot, I genuinely mean that I'm sorry. But a lot of the times, it doesn't feel genuine because I'm apologizing for nothing. So, teaching your kids when to actually apologize and apologizing to your kids,
mhm.
that also helps less overwhelm. And especially if your kid is like, if your kid's like me and has a lot of like fear of people being mad at them, like trying to explain sometimes that when you're mad, it might not necessarily be at your kid will also help reduce the stress because I know sometimes I apologize when I get scared that you're mad at me. And that just makes you actually mad at me because I'm just sitting there going, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I get, and I snap, right? Because you come home, you had a bad day, and then boom, you're immediately bombarded with questions or whatever. And so you snap. And it's because you have reached the maximum level of what you can take. And it's what the straw that broke the camel's back. It's that one
Yeah.
last thing. And working with that of
You and
ho-
your emotions are the biggest example for your kids and their emotions and how they handle it and how to handle it if they express them incorrectly or lash out or do something. Because like I think honestly, it is way more stressful to be a parent than it is to be a child because you are caring for an entire other thing on top of yourself. And like when you're a kid, yeah, life is really stressful and you don't know what's going on a lot of the times, but you're not managing another person. You're not, your goal is to kind of survive, but you're mostly taken care of and your survival is completely like taken care of for you
but
basically.
you got a test of it because I remember you saying I did remember it and now I'm gone. Because you had said that once before and then you said oh, you said to me, I remember when I said one time I was like, you were so much more, you were so much more organized. You would throw your trash away, you do all this
Yeah.
because when you were younger, and you were like, yes, because I didn't have any of the other demands that are on me
Yeah,
right now.
exactly. Because it's
So,
so
and I
much
was like, oh,
easier.
that's kind of true. You didn't.
What I think people don't realize is it's so much easier to be responsible when you're a child because you don't have other things to worry about. Like, your biggest concern is going to school. And, like, yeah, that causes a lot of issues for a lot of people. But where I noticed my, like, decline in, like, function is when I got into higher grades and I got closer to becoming an adult. I have more things like friendship drama. Things like before you're the age of 10, most things don't matter. And all the things you do are just like la 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 la. And like, yes, it's stressful, especially when you're neurodivergent, but you don't have the thing of like, I have to cook for myself now. I have to make sure I feed myself. I take my medicine. I do all these other things that I didn't have to do as a kid because someone else took care of it for me. Like when I was a kid, I was given my medicine on time because my mom would give it to me, or the school would give it to me, or someone would take care of that. I didn't have to worry about setting a routine for myself because the school did that for me and my mom did that for me. I didn't have to worry about any of that stuff, which meant I was less overwhelmed all the time and I had more ability to like function. But now I'm in college and I only go to school 2 days out of the week. So the other days I have to do stuff like laundry, chores, things like that, on top of making sure my homework is done and feeding myself and showering and doing all this other stuff because no one's going to do it for me. Like, yeah, I have my mom to help me, but like most of it is reliant on like me doing that.
Right, because I told you guys when you got to be teens that I'm not gonna, you know, um, take away your phone and monitor your computer
Yeah, because that's
time and
not
whatever,
my, that's
because
not your job.
eventually you're gonna have to do it yourself. And if
Hmm.
I continue to do this for you, you will not be able to do it for yourself. The same with
Hmm.
taking their medicine. It's not like I just said, today is the day that you are responsible for taking your medicine.
No,
It was a gradual thing.
it wasn't until I was like,
I think it was when you got into college and you were like, you, before you got sick, you were just
I think, I mean, I was pretty good at it in high school, but I would forget a couple times. But I think somewhere after middle school, I was like, okay, I have to like do this because like you were more like when I started going to high school, I had to start managing myself more because you were still teaching Luna and you were still doing stuff. And I was like, well, now I have to kind of create my own thing to let you do what you need to do because Luna is younger and still might need that routine being made for her. And I don't anymore because I'm in high school. And so I kind of like, I don't think I got it down until recently. Like, I don't think I still am
I
not good
think
at
you
it.
really kicked into gear like that first year of college, that first semester. You kind of like,
When I think I kicked into gear when I switched my major to photography and I was like, okay,
yeah,
like that was when I feel like I genuinely was like, okay, I'm making myself routines. I'm getting up, I'm getting dressed, I'm showering, I'm feeding myself, I'm doing all this. It kind of got knocked down when I got sick and stuff, but like I'm still most of the time managing stuff. I'm emailing my teachers on my own. I'm doing all this other stuff on my own. which means I do have a lot more stress input, which means I get overwhelmed a little more frequently than I used to. Um, so I
But
need to
yeah, so
regulate more.
it's more it's a balance because you need to be their frontal lobe for a long time and help boost them up to get them to
Be able to
slowly
do it themselves, yeah.
right
And it
and
takes a
it's
little bit longer for people who are neurodivergent to sometimes, not all the time, but I've noticed for me, I still don't feel like I've like if I went out and lived on my own right now, I could probably function. Would it be well? Probably not. Would I break down all the time? Probably, but I could do it. And that's the thing is like,
and that's what I was telling
yeah,
Dad with you and Luna. Like, if something happened and you guys had to
survive.
survive and do your stuff, I feel like you have enough knowledge to do that. It may not be fun or pretty.
I would
And you
eat grilled
know,
cheeses every day of my life and easy meals, but I would survive.
that's college. I think I ate macaroni and cheese my entire time there. You would be able to handle it and
I feel like
knowing
I've
how to get
definitely
help and how to find the solution.
and also being taught how to handle like how to emotionally calm yourself down from being overwhelmed is a very big skill that I think needs to be shown to kids as cuz like once they know what what the feeling is and what being overwhelmed is like, they might be able to be like, "Oh, well, when I feel like that, this makes me feel better." Like I like going to play with my toys when I feel upset or something like that. Or like sometimes people are like, well, when I get hurt, I get a hug from my mom and that makes me feel better. Like kids have that knowledge of like, this happens, then I do this and I feel better. So teaching them like how to be like, oh, I feel this really big, scary emotion and then I do this and I feel better. Like being able to teach them that is something that might take a while, by the way. Like, and sometimes things you used to do don't work anymore, which is really evil. Like, when I,
It's evil.
it is evil
Yeah.
because sometimes when I was overwhelmed in high school, I would be like, okay, I'm gonna listen to music and feel better. But now, if I'm overwhelmed and I listen to music, I want to rip my ears off and scream. So, like, I don't know.
Yeah, it depends. It depends on the kid, and you have to eventually learn enough. I still haven't figured out your sibling. I'm working on that.
Yeah.
They're tougher, but yeah, being overwhelmed is a
I think it's one of the worst things I can feel.
well. It's going to be worse for a neurodiverse person because you've already got a dysregulated system.
Yeah.
You already have a self-regulation issue. You already have a brain that can't regulate. It can't regulate the chemicals that you need. It can't regulate the skills you need. So it makes that 10 times bigger than if you had a neurotypical kid and you could tell them, um, you know, go put your laundry in the laundry basket and you only had to say it once or twice and they got it. They got the routine. Um, I think. I don't know. I've never experienced that. I don't have a neurotypical
I
kid, but
know. I feel like I
I've
don't
seen people that have
I
neurotypical
feel like
kids
I don't
who
know any neurotypical people in my life. Like I know
I
people who claim to be neurotypical and then like a couple months later they're like I was wrong and I'm like, yeah, I could have
we
told you
saw
that.
that.
Like
No, but when you were younger, I was with people that had um neurotypical kids and that was part of the reason I felt like a failure because I'm like, I
and
don't
they'd all be like, well, "You should try this
try to do this.
natural remedy for your kid." And I'm like,
Or, you should try saying no more often. Like
I hate when people say that by the way.
like, oh, I didn't think of that. Thank you.
Like impulsive behaviors do not listen to the word no. That's like the whole reason they're impulsive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like me kicking my sister in the face is not going to be stopped by someone saying, "Don't kick your sister," because if I feel the impulse urge to do it, sometimes I might
Luna
just
just bit my toe. How did that happen? My toe was in her mouth. Don't put your toe in her mouth and it won't get bitten. Okay,
I
so
feel like I'm the most overwhelming thing in this family. This is why my whole family is stressed and anxious all the time.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
They're afraid of me.
I'm not afraid of you.
No, I think Luna is.
No, I think
Shockingly.
Luna doesn't care about anything in the universe but what they're doing right now.
Honestly, I wish I could be like that.
And I need them to be more aware of the universe and not hide and try to ignore the
But they're
future.
look, they're so much less stressed than us. Maybe they have the right idea.
But I do not
Like,
want them living in my house when they're 40 still playing, Fortnite.
yeah,
They
they
don't
don't
play
play
that
Fortnite.
anymore, but you know what I mean. Um, so yeah, hopefully I
We
think
kind of got it, and then at the end, it kind of
but I think it all ties back. Don't
yeah.
you think?
I think yeah, maybe if you can connect how we tie back
You
to
have
everything,
ADHD.
you're great. I feel like the closer we get to 7 every single time, the less we talk about the topic.
We should really stop at like a half an hour, but we just can't.
No, it's not as fun.
No, it isn't.
And
But
I also feel like a lot of the times we are telling things that are related to having ADHD, which will help in
and
the long
if
run.
anybody's still on, they can chime in. But I would rather have somebody telling me a story and examples so that you can see, like, I'm a parent, I'm telling you what's happening. My kid is telling you
Yeah.
from their point of view, than to be sitting here spouting off facts or,
Yeah. And like
you
we
know,
do have facts. We have notes. We
that's
have
just to
stuff.
try to keep us on topic, but
Yeah.
we don't always do that.
But
So,
but honestly, most of the time you can read articles, you can read so many things, but in the end, it's like what you actually do and like what actually helps your kid that's more important than like some
yeah,
statistic that's like if you give your kid a cheese slice every day, they're gonna get this
give them
chemical in their brain and it's gonna make them
mouse a cookie.
it's like because there's some things that are like if you eat this and this and this it increases focus and all that stuff which could be true but in
Yeah,
the end it's like
we tried all that and didn't work for you. But
whatever
if
helps
you
your
think
kid
it's
helps your
working and it does
kid.
seem to work, then that's you, right?
Hmm.
But I guess what I
But I also think it
do,
is a neurodivergent thing to
but like
bond
you were,
over relating stories.
yes, people think you're rude and interrupt, but I think what I'm providing for parents is like a body doubling situation
Yeah, kind of.
because you have the knowledge, you've read the books, you've done all that stuff,
Yeah,
but
see,
it's
Emily loves us, and that's all that matters, really. We've got two epic people chatting in the chat
yeah,
today, and that is all we need. It's just great.
yeah. Um, so, oh,
And
so
maybe
like you
there's
said,
more
like
people lurking around.
I see all these parents in these parent groups saying, "This is what's happening. Help me, whatever." And then people come on, and usually it's just a shame fest, and it's like,
I hate when people parent shame. Like,
yeah.
how do you know what's gonna help my kid? Like,
But
you don't
uh,
live with them.
when you're desperate, you look everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but
the
like
biggest thing
that's
that
not
I
the
wish I had
problem. I
is
think the problem is people need to be like, don't they say parenting is a village? Like, you shouldn't be shaming your village because no one's gonna want to help you.
yes, but we have less of a village than we used to. It's harder and harder
That's
to
true.
connect. So having
That's just
like
help.
yeah,
Yeah.
I just need I needed um I needed a me. I needed another adult
To
to
like
body double with me to get through this. And I didn't have, I don't want to say I didn't have it because I did have a couple of great friends who were my adults.
and they were like, "You're doing great. Just keep trying, please."
Yeah. And maybe that decision was not the best. And so maybe we should rethink that the next time.
I think it's
Uh,
also hard to body double with people who don't have neurodivergent kids. Like, I
which
think
is
that's
why I like
why
to focus more on the moms that are neurodivergent because I think it's harder.
oh, it's so hard because if you're dysregulated and your kid's dysregulated, it's like, well, nope,
Not
someone's
yet.
got to be, and like, it's not gonna be the kid because they can't do that yet.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we are doing here is trying to just give some little bits of advice. And
Yeah.
I think for me, and again, this is probably something that other people would have to say, but um this is my best testimonial.
Look, I am functioning in college. I'm doing stuff.
They
So
cried.
obviously you did something right. Like, I might not be great at
You're
doing
gonna be
these
my new
things.
testimonial poster. I'm just gonna make a poster. Five
I should.
stars.
I should.
Okay, we're over time.
That's okay. The people love us.
The people love us.
The people love
The two
us.
people love us.
The two awesome people. I like when people chat in here and tell us about their kids cuz like I get to have more of a connection about like how other kids are doing and like it's really nice to hear about like Zane and
I mean,
sibling and
Emily and Zane have been with us since I started. So I feel like I've seen these kids grow up and
like it's super cool to like hear about it and like whenever people pop in the chat and it's super cool to see. I've maybe Mickey's been in here before and
no,
I
Mickey's
haven't
new to the
remembered,
group
but that is awesome because I like meeting
because
new people in the group.
that's what the group is for, right? I still reach out to all my former clients. I see something pop up and I was like, "Oh my god, your kid was this big when we started working together." And um I,
It's also super cool when they're like when they're younger because like I feel like it's interesting to see how they're handling the same things I handled as a kid. Like how being 8 feels now compared to how when I was 8 and like
yeah, because it being 8 these days is not the same as when you were 8.
yeah.
Um,
So it's super interesting to see and super cool. And it's also super awesome that parents are in here trying and wanting and trying to learn more because it's
yes,
the best thing you can do for your kid is learn about them and learn how to help them.
which is why we do this and why I'm trying to get back to doing like just little blurbs
Yeah.
every week so that
And like
you have access.
honestly, you probably make more sense than I do. I feel like I just kind of ramble sometimes, but I hope sometimes it's helpful.
Sometimes you come up with some gems.
I feel like I'm also comedic relief.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna have you wear a sign that says Coda 5 stars. Okay, well, thanks to everybody who joined us, and if you have questions, feel free to write them in here, DM me. Okay, so we're gonna go and find something to eat.
Oh yeah, I haven't had dinner.
Have you had lunch?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. So, drink your water. Remember to eat. We love you. We'll see
Oh,
you.
oh wait, it's on this side. How do I? Okay.
Are we good? All right.
Bye. Is it gonna end?